Jacob Fatu, Fred Rosser, and Shota Umino beat Team Filthy. And at the end of this match, Shota Umino won the match for his team. And he gets jumped by a guy who is unrecognizable. I don't know if he's
wearing a luchador mask.
It was a luchador.
Thought it was like Bushi or something. The way that the way the mask was set up, and it was not Bushi.
Unmasks, and it's a young man with, longish curly hair and a frazzled beard. And we look a little closer, and I look at John LaRock and I go, Jungle Boy. And he's like, huh? Jungle Boy. And so it was Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy jumped Shota Umino. He got in the ring. He what was the thing that he put on his arm?
Scapegoat.
He put a little armband that said Scapegoat on it, and he goes into his jacket. He takes out what all I saw was giant AEW letters on it. So it could have just been letterhead, but I think we were to assume that it was a contract of some sort. And I don't know about where other people work, but any contract I've ever signed about employment was like many pages long, not one page. Maybe he just grabbed, maybe he just grabbed the last page with his signature on it, but he tore up his AEW contract. So there's something going on with his 2024 as related to how he left AEW in 2023 with CM Punk screaming and yelling at him like a crazy man. And so we'll see what happens with Jungle Boy. I think you even said, what if he was coming in for the New Japan Cup, which I thought would be tremendous. Like that would be absolutely fantastic.
I mean, the way that this was laid out seems to be something that's going to be playing out on New Japan programming. Now, if that means that he is going to come to Japan, do a match or two, great. But there's got to be something between now and Chicago, much like other things have to happen with all these other shows. Are we going to get this story played out on AEW? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it'll be on AEW, or do you think this is going to play out somehow in New Japan?
So if I am trying to make this thing make sense, now, the him tearing up the contract is directly feeding into what they like to do, which is, they like to swerve their smart fans into thinking, because the AEW fan base, one thing about them is they want to believe that whatever is going on is going to be good. So sometimes they even play into it a little bit more than some smart fans, which just because they just want it to be cool or whatever. And so the fact that he tore up that contract tells me that they probably want to establish that he is not going to be back in AEW in the very near future. Maybe he even does that Windy City show as well, because I think that show's is in Chicago, and that is in the all in, all out building,
the Wintrust Arena.
So there's a story in of itself there, being that's, Punk's place. So I would keep him away from AEW television. You could actually, you could maybe show it, but I think even showing it, you're basically saying like, yeah, this is storyline, and maybe that's what they want.
You're gaming
yeah, and maybe that's what they want. Maybe they're fine with that. And I think, again, like I said, I think the fans will play along, and the fans will be excited because they're like, oh, something interesting with Jungle Boy, and they're trying. But I did see some people go, wait, is he gone? I was like, come on, guys.
That's exactly like the fact that people believe that he is really like torn up the contract and he's now in New Japan just says to me that there is a compelling factor to this, that people are already invested in. Like, okay, we weren't expecting any of this. So that's a successful point number one. Point number two is you have completely forgotten about CM Punk. You have completely forgotten about all these other things. You're immediately like, okay, the next chapter with Jack Perry is New Japan. This is a pivot left, a hard pivot left from the direction that he was set on before. Okay, I'm interested. He's not the devil. He's not anything going on and anything going on in AEW this feels fresh, and this feels like a great opportunity for him, both professionally and creatively. And so I am optimistic about the whole thing.
Our friend Denise says that she was very happy that the Jungle Boy returned. She was a little worried about old Jack.
I heard from our friend Miguel that he felt that this was the perfect show for his wife to have attended. She would have liked every match on the card.
It was good. It was really good. So we'll have to wait and see what they do. I as a fan of storylines like this, to kind of do everything that you can. Not that they're going to fool me, but just so that I see they're doing their due diligence to make it, seem as realistic as possible. I would love to not even have them talk about him at all. They have a lot of people that they need to get over. And if all of this stuff happens through social media or through New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm totally fine with that. It's a little edgier that way. It's less, Excalibur, screaming about something. I'm fine with it. Like let's let the New Japan folks tell this story for a little while until he's ready to go back.
I will tell you this. That Forbidden Door match between Jack Perry and Sonata was such a mismatch creatively and stylistically. He had no business being in that title match, even for the angle that they were doing on AEW at the time. But setting Jack Perry up with Shota Umino is a fantastic pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I agree.
Those two are in very similar places in their careers on the come up and with the reception, the relationship with the fans, and creating dual relationships, both Shota and AEW further and Jack Perry and New Japan, I think is going to do wonders for them both. And it's a great starting point. I was just, when they were put together and they did that angle, I was like, never would have thought of it, but wow, no, I am here for it.
And they're both young, handsome wrestlers. That is good for a younger fan base to see these two dudes who are still early in their career. They're very athletic. I think it just makes so much sense. So I'm for it.
I was just like, again, never would have thought of it. And once they did, I'm like, it made so much sense. And I'm glad it's more than just a Forbidden Door match where they're going to meet once. And this feels like something that they'll draw out here, there, and everywhere. And yeah, Shota's got stuff going on with the Ren, and then there's going to be the Cup. But if Jack Perry's in the Cup, if some of these other guys that showed up today are in the Cup, all of a sudden we have a very interesting New Japan Cup and a lineup of matches that we can start, wrapping our minds around. It's like, wow, all of these are possible.